one of the things that I was taught very early on about the propitiation, and that is that the propitiation is the satisfying of wrath. But every time I would say that, and that's not totally wrong, but it's not totally right. And I'll tell you, every time I would say that phrase, because I knew that based on what Jesus did, we were delivered from the wrath of God. And so it would seem plausible then to say, okay, then Jesus died to deliver me from the wrath of God. Well, that is one of the benefits of what happened as a result of Jesus dying, but that's not the real reason that Jesus had to die. But even further than that, we come to realize that in paganism, in occult paganism, the gods were not moved by love. I say gods, I'm talking about little g's. The gods were not moved by love. They used fear, they used manipulation, they used wrath. And so their worshipers of the false gods have always tried to appease those gods by making sacrifices, which was really nothing more than just paying them off. And so if they felt like if they made enough sacrifices, they would appease the wrath of the gods, and they would not have the curses of the gods poured out on them. Well, God said in the Old Testament that He's holy. Now, despite what we think holiness is, again, that's one of those words that religion redefined for us. The word holy has to do with actually not being common, with being unique. And God being holy, what He's saying is, I'm not common. I am not like any of the other gods. And even though you may be, bringing sacrifices, even though you may be making offerings, even though you may be doing all the same things that other people do with their gods, you are doing it for a completely different reason. And so, since I am different, you've got to be different. Since I operate from a different set of values, you've got to operate from these values. So you've got to learn what these values are, and you've got to operate from the same values that I operate from. And so based on that, the idea that the reason Jesus had to die was just to appease wrath would really make Him not holy, because that's exactly why sacrifices had to be given to the false gods of the Old Testament.